with IT. Most business owners have a very outdated view of what their technology is, what they need, and how it should be supported. There was a time, 20 years ago, when IT support was pretty straightforward. You needed somebody who knew computer stuff, and that person was probably really scared that they were going to get a virus or something like that, and so they were really good at keeping care of everything. And, you know, with more experience and certifications, those people got better and better and better. Well, in the 2020s, that person needs to have many, many more skills, and they need to have access to a certain tool set so that they can manage antivirus and spam filtering and your email and storage in the cloud and making sure it all gets backed up. It's a very complicated world. The world of IT used to be simple, and it grew and grew and grew and became very complex. Now, you can afford to do this at some level yourself, but to be honest, when your system gets complicated enough, you really need somebody else to make sure all the pieces work together. It used to be, once again, that you had one set of equipment, and so you could remove one technician, put in a different technician, and they could make that stuff work. Now you buy storage over here and antivirus over here and email over there and your office products over there, and then somebody's supposed to make sure that it all gets backed up and patched and fixed and updated. Somebody has to coordinate all of that, and so you need somebody who's got that skill set. For most small businesses, the person who should do this, if they are competent, will cost you a minimum of $40,000, and in most places $50,000 or $60,000 a year. Plus, you know, some benefits here and there, maybe some taxes, unemployment. You're easily talking about spending $75,000 a year for somebody who's competent to do that. Well, that just doesn't make sense if you have 10 employees. It literally does not make sense. There was a time when it made sense to have your email in-house on your server in a closet that you can take care of. Those days are gone. I would never sell a 10-user office an in-house email system. It no longer makes sense. It was the right decision back then. It's not the right decision today. Same thing with your IT. The person who could take care of you 10 years ago, 15 years ago, is not the person who can take care of you today. An SMB IT consultant has knowledge, experience, and the right tools to put together this collection of services to make sure that they all work together and that you don't have areas where viruses can get in simply because there are gaps between the tools. I know many people they want to do this themselves. They want to save money, and they think they're saving money by doing it themselves. If you're managing your own IT in the 2020s, you are leaving yourself open to many, many dangers. And you don't even have somebody who can give you advice on the right things to do. So I recommend that all small businesses at least talk to somebody who is a professional IT consultant, somebody who has got a collection of programs that they've put together, who understands the big picture, who can talk to you about what your needs are and mesh them with the appropriate technology. Ultimately, the job of an SMB IT consultant is to help clients make good choices about technology. And it used to be that meant buying the right laptop, buying the right desktop, buying the right server, connecting up to the right firewall. Those things still play some role, but today you also need somebody who can look at a much bigger picture and make sure that you are legal and compliant and that you are safe. Ultimately, the most important job that I've ever done as an IT consultant is to test backups, to verify that I can restore a client from a critical emergency, whether that's a failed hard drive, antivirus, whatever. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong. We had a client one time that their office was shut down because the people next door had a fire and the water got onto their server. You're not going to foresee something like that, but you can't go out of business. You have to get back in business as quick as possible. I had another client that somebody in his business park busted in the back door between his office and another office, and they could only get it open a little bit because there was a bunch of file cabinets in front of it, but it was enough to get a person through, who then proceeded to steal every single piece of equipment they had, including the server, including the backup. But we had a system in place where we were able to get them back in business the next day. So when you think about how much your business is worth, you might have revenue of hundreds of thousands or 1, 2, 5, 10 million, but do you have enough so that you could be in business with no cash flow for a year, for 6 months, for 1 month? What's your critical number? Compare that expense to what it costs to have an SMB IT consultant. Most consultants, even if they are quote unquote expensive, will cost you nowhere near $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. They will be a fraction of that, and they will be better qualified than somebody you hire in-house or your cousin or the owner's nephew, right? So please, if you are in small business, do yourself a favor. Talk to a professional IT consultant, whether they're a member of the National Society of IT Service Providers or some other organization. Look for people who are certified. Look for people who are qualified, who've been in business a while, and people who can make a business presentation to you and talk to you about where you're going, what your industry is all about, and what you need with technology. A good consultant will not rip you off and try to make as much money as possible today. They will engage in a long-term relationship in which they want to nurture you and take care of your business for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And then their long-term interest is to keep you as profitable as possible. If you think